Welcome into Week 14 with a roof open on a crisp but sunny December day here at NRG Stadium. The Houston Texans face the Seattle Seahawks for just the 5th time in franchise history. Quarterback Davis Mills was named the starter for the remaining 5 games of the season as he looks to get his first career win today in his 3 home starts this year. Mills has 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 113.9 rating. Meanwhile, for the Seahawks, former Texans left tackle Dwayne Brown, he returns NRG Stadium for the first time in 5 years. What do the Texans need to do to slow down Russell Wilson and finish out their 3-game homestand with a win? We've got those answers, projected starting lineups, plus a one-on-one with rookie tight end Brevin Jordan. Texans Unlimited, presented by Verizon, starts now.
We are ready to rock in Houston.
Touchdown, Houston!
Are you kidding? What a catch! Oh, baby!
Well, welcome into Texans Unlimited, presented by Verizon. We are looking into the face of the sun. Actually, not really. The sun is behind us, but it's about to get pretty warm out here. I welcome in Drew Doherty. It's a beautiful day here at NRG Stadium. First time the roof's been open this year, and the Texans are hoping it turns their luck around. They've had 3 home games, Drew, and they would sure like to close out this homestand with a win today against the Seahawks. And it's homecoming. We've got a lot of Texans legends walking around the building as well.
That's right. A lot of guys who used to play here, and this is a big difference, a big shift in what we've seen because, A, like you mentioned at the start of the show, Davis Mills is going to be the starter the rest of the way, and B, there aren't many running backs today. All the tight ends and all the wide receivers are basically, at full strength. So they're going to throw, and hopefully throw again against a pass defense for the Seahawks that is limited, is hurting, and has really struggled this season statistically. So let's get some balls in the air.
Yeah, it should be an interesting offensive showdown for the Texans. David Johnson's on the reserve COVID list, and we'll get into those inactives in a little bit. But first, let's get to your quick hits of the week. Davis Mills, he was named the starting quarterback on Friday by head coach David Culley. He's had 6 starts so far this year, and David Culley believes that experience will help him today.
The big thing about that is that he's played 6 ball games. He got thrown into it right away in Cleveland, and then he had to just go head first. But I thought if he can do the things that he did, and I expect him to, in the New England game, which he played very, very well. Good decisions, protected the ball. I feel like we'll be fine.
When veteran Tyrod Taylor came back off IR and reclaimed his starting role, Davis Mills was inactive for 3 games. He came back last week in the 3rd quarter when Taylor injured his wrist. Mills feels that he's improved over the course of the season while being a backup behind Taylor.
I think just having an emphasis on continuing to spread the ball around with all of our weapons we have on offense, and then just playing a clean game as a whole, mixing up the snap count, being solid in protection, try to not mismanage any points or pre-snap decisions, and then really just going out and executing post-snap.
And the Texans defense will have its own set of challenges today as they try to slow down Russell Wilson. The last time he played the Texans was in 2017. And Wilson had a career-high 452 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Defensive coordinator Lovie Smith, he has seen what Russell Wilson can do, and he says it's going to be a challenge today for his defense.
Anytime you play a team with Russell Wilson, it's, I was in the league, I was out of the league, and when I was way back when I was in, I remember when he first came on the scene, and he's just played outstanding football, just about every game he's played. Some of the problems he gives you. He's a mobile quarterback, makes great decisions, keeps plays alive, and they have a system, of course, that's kind of set up to highlight some of those things. It's just not them as a passing team. They have great receivers, have a good combination of a quick receiver along with a big physical receiver. But there's still a commitment to the run, and we always go into games trying to stop the run, needing to stop the run, and that'll be the case this week.
And we've got some changes on the inactives list. Let's get right to it for the Texans and the Seahawks, Drew.
Yeah, David Johnson, first things first, he just went on to the COVID-19 injured reserve right before the game. So he's not on the roster. He's not inactive. He's just on the COVID reserve list. But the guys that are not going to suit up to play today who are on the roster, Terrence Brooks, you see Chris Moore as well. He's gotten some time at receiver. And then Kevin Pierre-Louis has done some nice things on special teams and filled in at linebacker. Cole Toner, Jimmy Moreland, as well as Deshaun Watson not going to play like always. So what's that mean? Who's up? Because with only 6 inactives, that means there's been some shuffling. Well, Jordan Akins is back at it again. He's back on the 53-man. Well, he's been on the 53-man, but he's active today. So is Jeff Driscoll active at tight end. That's the first time he's ever been active as the tight end. And Philip Dorsett, the wide receiver, was signed to the active roster yesterday. DP, there's 2 running backs that are active today for the Texans, Rex Burkhead and Royce Freeman. So that is something we haven't seen. This is a team that had 5 guys not active, but on the active roster earlier this season. Now there's 2. So you've really shaved that down quite a bit.
Because Jalen Samuels, who was the other running back on the practice squad, he was also placed on the reserve COVID list. So you've got a running backs group that's dealing with COVID right now. But that means, like you said, Jeff Driscoll. And I think for the O-line, Justin McCray's back in the lineup, which is going to be big for this offensive line because he was out with a concussion last week. Let's take a look at Seattle's inactives for today.
Yeah, the big name, I guess the biggest name would be Kyle Fuller. He played here. He was drafted in that 2017 class out of Baylor. Didn't really play much, but he started the first 7 games of the season this year for the Seahawks, started the last 2, and then he got an ankle injury. So they're having to shuffle things around. But really, you don't see the names here. Brandon Shell is also a guy who's started some at right tackle. But the biggest thing is Jamal Adams, the safety that they gave up first-round picks for, went on injured reserve earlier this week. So Ryan Neal is going to take his spot. And if you listen to the Seahawks, they like what Neal has done in the past. He came in last year for Adams, got a couple picks, made a lot of plays on third downs for them, and did good things. But overall, it's a Seattle Seahawks pass defense that is near the bottom of the league in yards allowed, so you can throw it on them. Davis Mills, hopefully, you see him throwing it there, can keep that up and perform the way he performed the way against the New England Patriots. Do that today and maybe take advantage of what's been a porous pass defense in Seattle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that right side of the line, you mentioned it, Brandon Shell's out. It could be 2 rookies starting there. So maybe the Texans D-line will get some pressure on Russell Wilson. He seems to have these fourth-quarter comebacks against the Texans. They've not been able to beat him. Maybe that's the soft spot today. As far as running backs, they get Alex Collins back. He was out with the abdomen injury. But last week, Travis Homer, who had the 73-yard fake punt return for a touchdown, he is inactive today. So they've got their own running back injuries. And I think that means no Adrian Peterson. He was on the practice squad. He did not revert to the active roster. So we will not see Adrian Peterson for the second time in 4 weeks.
Another thing about Seattle is they've given up sacks. 39 times their quarterback has gone down this year. Now, Russell Wilson has started the bulk of the games, but Geno Smith, I guess he was a starter for about 3 or 4. Combined, they've been sacked 39 times this year through 12 games. And what's one of the strengths of the Texans this season? Well, Cameron Johnson's one of the best punters in the league, and they got a good one too, and Michael Dixon out of UT. But the defensive line for the Texans has been pretty good at winning one-on-one matchups when they come their way. Will Jonathan Grenard get some? He's over on that side, perhaps moved around. Will some of these other guys, Malik Collins, get after the quarterback? You hope you can do that because you've seen historically this season and really throughout his career, Russell Wilson can get dropped for a sack, but he doesn't make many mistakes. He's only thrown 4 picks this year, 14 touchdown passes as opposed to that.
Yeah, I did something with Seahawks.com this week, and one of the matchups I said I was looking forward to was Jonathan Grenard versus Russell Wilson.
I like that, yeah.
Because team-high 8 sacks, he's only in his second year. This is going to be a big challenge for this D-line. We're not trying to minimize it at all. Russell Wilson's mobile. He may be a small quarterback, but he's been in this league for 10 years. So I'd like to see a guy like Jonathan Grenard get some experience against a guy like Russell Wilson. Shall we get into some Q&A from our fans? We got fans watching from everywhere right now.
Yes, you say everywhere. We've got Joe from the UK. We've got Clifford in Beaumont. It's not the big red dog. It's just Clifford. And then Logan from North Carolina, as well as our good pal Javari from Miami. We love hearing from you, whether you're far away, whether you're just down the street. Thank you so much for being fans and for sending in questions and for watching the show. DP, Javari's leading things off, isn't he?
Yeah. He wants to know, Do you expect to see Lonnie Johnson at corner today? Well, Lonnie did get some snaps last week with Terrence Mitchell out, but Terrence Mitchell's back. Desmond King's back, so Lonnie will not be starting. If he does come in, it might be for relief. It might be because someone has to come out because of an injury. So maybe we might see Lonnie Johnson. I know they liked what they saw once they moved him back to corner from safety, but he's really behind those two on the depth chart for now.
Last week, and the week before, I think I was a big dumb dope. I said, you won't see Lonnie at cornerback. He's just going to play special teams. And then what happened? Lonnie played some snaps at corner. So you might see it. But DP points out some good things there with Mitchell coming back. Probably not going to see him as much, but I think they want to get a gauge on how he's playing there out on the edge at corner and see what he can do, because they know what he's done at safety. They saw a little bit of corner as a rookie. So what can he do now? He might get some snaps, Jabari. Don't expect him to get a ton of them, though. Yeah.
Jay wants to know, how does the roof affect the game today? I don't know, Drew. I mean, we rarely see the roof open here. It is pretty sunny. I know coaches genuinely do not like having the roof open because of the shadows on the field, but the Texans have played in conditions like that when they go to Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis is the worst when it comes to shadows on the field because they've got those beams overhead. There's not a lot of beams here, obviously. It's a completely open roof, but I mean, that's the only way I can see maybe in the return game it might affect it. But other than that, the weather's not bad. It's not raining. It's obviously not snowing, so I don't think it affects it otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's more for the fans. That's who it affects, as far as who's sitting in the sun, who's sitting in the shade, because both teams have to play with it. And
right.
Like she said, the Texans have to deal with shadows just the same way the Seahawks do. So it's not really a big deal, I don't think. And noise-wise, I mean, I'm not an audiologist, but I think it's still loud, whether it's open or closed, when this place is full. So it's no big deal. It's nice. It's a beautiful day. Let's keep it open.
Let's enjoy the weather.
We saw a roof renaissance last year. It hadn't been open in 5-6 years, and then the Texans, with Romeo Crennel as the interim, started get open as much as they could. So I'm cool with it being back up.
I think also with COVID, they thought it might be a little bit better to have open air, air things out. Who knows? Logan wants to know, how will Brandon Cooks perform today with Mills? That's a great question, because last week you saw the Texans were shut out against the Colts, and they want to get Brandon Cooks involved in this offense. He is wide receiver number 1, and Mills being your rookie, his first career touchdown was to Brandon Cooks at Cleveland, and it was something that Cooks saw on the sideline, went to Tim Kelly and wanted to run a play again, and they did that. So I think Cooks is instrumental to this offense. They know it. Tim Kelly knows it. David Culley knows it. Davis Mills knows it. They want to get Cooks involved in this offense. They can have a lot of other guys active, but he's the guy that you want to go to.
Brandon Cooks is your best player, whether it's Davis Mills, whether it's Tyrod Taylor playing quarterback, whether it's Jeff Driscoll throwing the ball, whether it's David Culley throwing the ball. They want to throw the ball to Brandon Cooks first and foremost. He's the best that they got right now, and that's who they want to give the ball to.
All right, Alex wants to know, on that note, will we see more aggressive play calling today? Alex, I don't know what you define as aggressive, but I do think we're going to see some very creative play calling because, like Drew mentioned earlier, we only have 2 active running backs. You've got Rex Burkhead, who has really carried the load for this team in the last few weeks. And then you've got Royce Freeman, who we haven't really seen too much of in recent weeks. But then you've got Jeff Driscoll, who's active for the first time as a tight end. You bring Jordan Akins back. You've got a full slate of tight ends. So maybe we'll see some more action from the tight ends. I don't know. I just feel like you might see some of that Swiss Army knife stuff that we've heard Jeff Driscoll is able to do, especially with your running backs out.
Well, Alex, I can't say with any certain degree of, or any certainty that you're going to see more aggressive play calling. But just looking at the roster on game day and who is active and who's not, like DP mentioned, with just 2 running backs, that's certainly a more aggressive approach to having guys, because what have we normally seen out here? The Texans, want to pound the ball and want to run. They're going to throw it more. I would be stunned if they don't throw the ball more today because of like the numbers of guys who are pass catchers as opposed to runners. So
yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned all the tight ends that were active. One tight end who's been active in recent weeks, Brevin Jordan. He's caught a couple of touchdowns. Drew had a chance to catch up with the rookie this week. He's been a lot of fun to watch, and I'm sure he was a lot of fun for you to catch up with as well. Take a look.
This pregame interview is powered by Reliant. We've got tight end Brevin Jordan. Brevin, it's great to be with you. Rookie season is clipping right along. Team is looking for a win. How has practice been this week? What's it been like getting prepped for these Seahawks?
It's been good. Just getting back out on the field. Anytime you take a loss, it feels good to just get back on the grass and just get back, to what we love to do is play football. So we're just trying to bounce back.
I hear you. It'll be 6th game for you as a professional. What's that been like? How much different are you now versus where you were going into that first game you played about a month or so ago?
I think I'm more mature, definitely. I mean, when I first got here, I was just I'm still 21 years old, but I was just a little kid, kind of just admiring the fact that I'm still in the NFL. And now that I've had to step up, I've had to grown up and go out there and really play. And so, I mean, I think overall, just learning how to be a professional and just keep being in this league, learning how to be in it a long time. I've enjoyed it.
How quickly did the admiring of the others get shoved to the side when you got into a game?
Pretty quick. I mean, it happened pretty quick. I mean, I still look at Brandon Cooks and David Johnson, even guys like Tyrod and just all those guys, those vets. I'm just like, man, I've been watching you guys for a long time. So to be on the same team with them is pretty unbelievable.
What's been the biggest challenge of learning the system, this offensive system that you're in?
Everything. I mean, when I first got drafted and had to learn the system with AB through Zoom and stuff, it seemed like Chinese or like I don't even know, the way the plays were scripted and worded and everything, the motions was just throwing me off. It was completely different. I didn't know anything.
Yeah, you're not alone. Years ago, late in the season, the Texans had some problems. They had to bring in quarterbacks late, and TJ Yates came in, and he had played in a different offense with this team before, and he said, this is like learning Chinese, but backwards.
Right.
So you're in good company there.
Sounds good.
Nothing wrong with that. Okay, you rookies, you guys are tight. You guys have all talked about it. You've talked about it publicly. What's it been like being part of a class that every one of you is now playing and playing pretty extensively?
Right.
You guys are building blocks for the future here.
It's awesome. I mean, we all lean on each other. I mean, whenever there's something going wrong or we need some clarity on something, it's always good to just go to somebody that I've been with from day one with, and just it's unbelievable. I mean, the whole rookie class, how we've come together and we've leaned on each other when we needed to lean on each other. Through the losses, through the wins, through everything. We've always just leaned on each other. Yeah,
what's it like playing with Nico Collins and then your quarterback Davis Mills? You guys have gotten a lot of reps together? Yeah.
I mean, I've known Davis for quite some time. I mean, I've known of Davis for quite some time. He's a West Coast guy. Well, he's from Georgia, but he played at Stanford, so he's a West Coast guy. I know a little bit about him. And then Nico, that's my guy, man. Me and Nico always leaning on each other. We're two receivers, so we always just depending on each other.
Good stuff. All right, let's talk about the Seattle defense. What impresses you most about the secondary and the biggest strengths of that unit?
I would say how they fly to the ball. I mean, they are flyers to the ball. They do not play with that. I think that's just their whole motto, though. Is they want to fly to the ball and just make everything as havoc as possible.
Yeah, no Jamal Adams. He's done for the season. But they're all very confident, whether you're talking to a coach, whether you're talking to a player, about the guys coming in his place, especially Neal. What do you see from that guy?
I mean, he's a good player. This is the NFL. He's a great player. He flies to the ball. He's going to be filling in the role of Jamal Adams. So we got to just go out there and play football. Everybody in this league is good, though. So we're not, just because Jamal Adams not playing, we're still going to take Neal just as serious.
Good stuff. All right, let's see how you get powered for game day.
Talk to me.
What time do you go to bed the night before a noon game?
Woo! I mean, so my bedtime every night, I try to be in bed by 9 o'clock, 9:30, no later. But I'd be so anxious and so ready to go on game days that it's hard for me to go to sleep. So, I mean, I can't even give you an exact answer, but I try to be in bed by 9:30.
Gosh, I wish my children would get in bed by 9. Oh, it makes for long nights.
Man.
When you wake up in the morning, what are you eating for breakfast?
Something simple. I mean, pretty much actually it's not simple. Give me some hash browns, chocolate chip pancake, 2 pieces of bacon, 2 pieces chicken sausage with blackberries, raspberries, and strawberries. Give me some orange juice, a suja juice, and a water. And a coconut water. Shout out to Sarah and Ladin to the whole nutrition.
What was the juice in between orange juice and water you're talking about?
Suja? Is that how you say it? The little green juices?
Okay.
Yeah, it has like celery, cucumber, lettuce. Yeah,
pretty good?
Pretty healthy. No, not really.
It's just good for you and
good
you need
for
that.
you. Right.
I got you. Good energy there.
Right.
Okay, what's the music that you're listening to?
I'm listening to everything. I love music. So, I mean, for me, I'm from Las Vegas, so I listen to a wide variety. I mean, I'll turn on some Lil Baby to Lil Wayne. I'll turn on some Jason Aldean, Taylor Swift, Michael Jackson, whatever you want.
You mix it up.
I got it, yeah.
All right, you're from Las Vegas. And if you want to hear more about that, we're going to ask him some more Vegas questions in Drew's Dozen. But we appreciate the time.
Yes,
Reverend
sir.
Jordan, go out there, knock them dead on Sunday against those Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
That was Brevin Jordan along with Drew Doherty, and I believe it's the first game all year where we've got every single tight end active.
Isn't that wild?
For today. I mean, that is crazy.
Bananas.
You've got Brevin Jordan, you got Pharaoh Brown, you've got Jordan Akins, and now you've got Jeff Driscoll. 4 active tight ends. Well, that's what happens when you're depleted at running back. All right, well, speaking of which, how does that affect the starting lineups? Let's take a look at your starting lineups for today. We'll start off with the offense.
Yes, and before we say who's up and who's not, This is not going to be. You will not see this starting lineup. I guarantee you. I will take this to the bank. You will not see this. Now,
projected.
This is a projection. It's given to us by certain folks in the building, and this is not what you're going to see out there. You will not see Royce Freeman and Rex Burkhead together on the field at running back in any formation to start this game. I guarantee you. I will guarantee that. But with that being said,
I kind of want it to happen just so Drew has to take that back next week. But you make a fair point, though. These are projections based on the depth chart and based on injuries. So, but with that being said, at least you know who's going to be in the game today. On offense, you've got your offense, Davis Mills, obviously your starting quarterback, and then your wide receivers, Cooks and Conley, because there's no Chris Moore active today, Farrell Brown. And then your offensive line, you've got Titus Howard, Lane Taylor, Justin Britt, who played with the Seahawks. It's a little bit of a battle for him today with his former team. Yeah. And then Justin McCray's back in the lineup. Good to see at right guard. And then Charlie Heck. And let's take a look at your defensive starters for today.
I think this one you will probably see maybe a change or two as far as the linebackers and DBs, depending on if they go nickel or not. But Jacob Martin, former Seahawk as well, seeing his old team. They spoke warmly of him this week back in Seattle. Pete Carroll said, boy, he sure was good with us this year, and he's doing the things that we liked when we had him before they traded him for Jadeveon Clowney. But Roy Lopez, the rookie, doing good things in the middle. Malik Collins, keep an eye out for him. And Jonathan Grenard, who DP mentioned earlier, he gets 2 sacks. He's got double-digit sacks, and he's having a good year as well already. But then at linebacker, Kamu Grugier-Hill, Christian Kirksey, and Neville Hewitt. And then out at corner, you got King Mitchell, with the safeties being Reed and Murray. Can they get some picks today? It's been tough. He's only thrown 4, has Russell Wilson in 2021. But let's get some takeaways, because when this team is +3 in turnover differential, they win. When they're not, they haven't won a single game all season long.
Yeah, if any defense can get takeaways, I have faith in the 2021 Lovie Smith Texans defense. That's one thing they've really excelled at this year. And you mentioned Jonathan Grenard. Double-digit sacks is crazy, considering he missed a couple of games this year with injury. And he has, for every 20 and a half snaps, he's logging a sack, which is the second quickest behind TJ Watt. And he was asked about it. Obviously, the stats don't mean much to him without a win, so he's really looking for a win today. And he'll have to go against Russell Wilson, who has 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 102.5 passer rating. Their record does not reflect how well he looks on paper. And one guy that would know about it is Jonathan Joseph, who is actually today's home field advantage captain. Yeah. He was on this squad. He's one of the very few players on this squad that was here in 2017, the last time these two teams faced each other.
He was also here in 2013, which was heck of a game here as well. Texans lost that one in heartbreaking fashion. But, yeah, it's great to have J-Joe back. The best free agent signing in the history of the franchise. Got him in here in 2011, and he paid immediate dividends. Went to a Pro Bowl that year, helped Texans turn around what had been the worst pass defense of basically since the AFL-NFL merger. Flipped that on its ear, and the Texans as a whole defensively were tops in the NFL. He did a great job here for a long, long time. It's good to have him back. Talking earlier with the media a few moments ago, he was asked about Andre Johnson, who's Hall of Fame semifinalist and needs to be in Canton. He belongs in Canton, and he was just saying how great number 80 was here and how that's all you knew about the Texans before he came to Houston, and what a deserving guy he would be to be in the Hall of Fame. And I believe Andre Johnson's actually going to be here today, so it'll be good to have him in the building as well. Plus, Bun B.
Yes, Bun B at halftime. It's a Legends community today. It's homecoming day for the Houston Texans. Great to see Jonathan Joseph and all of our former players walking around the building, and check out Bun B at halftime. Also, check out HoustonTexans.com for all the news of today's game, the stories, press conferences, and more. That's going to do it for Texans Unlimited, presented by Verizon. Thank you to everyone that worked on this show, led by Tyler Marcotte. And for all of you out there, have a great game day, and go Texans.